Rapid Fire News. I'm Scott Summit. This is 11 Hats Media. About 200 immigrants were arrested at a nice raid at a marijuana farm in California. What the mainstream media won't tell you about that marijuana farm is that they were employing children, and that the owners of the farm are huge donors to Gavin Newsom. They'll just make it a sob story about the poor, hard-working migrants, which in this one specific case I kind of get because workers at a marijuana farm are probably not a high risk. More than 1,300 workers were laid off by the State Department. It's not enough and I'm not happy. That's only 1/2% of the federal workers. While the ideal number of federal workers would be 0, we have to take what we can get while the madman is in office. The Treasury Department reported a surplus for the month of June. The federal government actually making money? This story must be fake news. I was reliably told that the tariffs would bankrupt the economy, but they ended up making money. I wonder what else the mainstream media is lying about. Moving on. 24 people were hospitalized in a mass overdose in Baltimore, Maryland. That's the first time I've ever heard of a mass overdose being reported. Probably a bunch of people trying to buy heroin and ending up with fentanyl and boom, hospital. If you do fentanyl when you mean to do heroin, you're going to have a bad time. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson says she's not afraid to use her voice in writing her dissents. We can tell. Her dissents aren't even coherent, let alone sophisticated or profound. Even the other leftists on the court have to correct her all the time. That's what we get for electing a senile old man to be in charge of picking these things. The city of LA will provide cash assistance to those affected by the immigration raids. Homeless American? Too bad, you're probably white. We need to give this money to the immigrants. Single mother trying to raise a family? Doesn't matter. Give the money to the immigrants. Your city has to ration water and power? Doesn't matter, give money to the immigrants. A permanent bureaucracy enriching itself. But also the immigrants. Wildfires? More money to immigrants. I'm not anti-immigrant, just maybe don't pay them for doing illegal things. Ships in the Red Sea broadcast messages that all crew were Muslim to avoid attacks by Houthis. Surprisingly, it didn't work. 3 people were killed, 10 were injured, and 1 was kidnapped. It reminds me of the George Floyd riots when the guy got his window broken and all he could scream out was, "I'm on your team." An Australian woman was found alive after being lost in the Australian outback for 12 days. The odds of surviving for 12 days alone in the Australian outback are pretty low, so this is great news. What makes it even more incredible is the area that she was lost in was over 740,000 acres. Literally a needle in a haystack. Walmart recalls 850,000 water bottles after 2 people were permanently blinded by forcefully ejecting lids. 2 out of 850,000 is not terrible. That's only 1 permanent blinding per 425,000 water bottles sold, according to the Capitalism Index will allow it. Water bottles from Walmart have a higher consumer safety rating than the COVID vaccine. Next story. Indeed and Glassdoor are set to cut 1,300 jobs. The irony of companies that help you find a job not being able to keep employees is not lost on me. But at least they know the ins and the outs of how the application process works. And an Arizona resident dies from the plague. I was going to make a plague joke, but they're too infectious.